Yeah. There's a funny thing I can share with you. You know what I hate about the bodybuilding? I hate like people say,
Coach Greg, and I have with me here today Baby Carrot from Shanghai, China. He's a Mr. Olympia bound athlete. He's won his IFBB Pro show in Toronto. He's also a natural athlete, and so really happy to be discussing things today with you.
hi, Greg. I'm really happy to see you. It's our first time, right? I'm really happy and already excited.
And so some of you may not know he's very popular in China, more so than in North America, obviously because he's from there. But you basically have gyms back and forth. Like you own a gym in the United States as well as China. Is that correct?
I have two gyms in China, in Shanghai, and I have one home gym in America.
Okay, so he's traveling back and forth. Right now, he's actually under lockdown in Shanghai. So you can't train in the gym. You've been locked. It's almost like being on house arrest, of which I've been on before in the past. It sucks. You can't go out and grocery shop. So we'll get into that. But let's start by talking about this. You started off as a soccer player and really didn't want to be a bodybuilder, and you got hurt really bad. And then you kind of got into lifting weights and you made that transition. Could you tell more about that? How you kind of transitioned from just being like a cardio soccer guy to all of a sudden having this incredible physique?
All right. So that was pretty interesting. Like back when I was 17, I used to be a like pretty good soccer player. I played in in division D, but I'm like already in varsity team in America in high school. So I play pretty good, and I love soccer. I had played for like almost 10 years back then. But sadly, like during the training, I tore my ACL when I was in the training. So uh, I had done the surgery to replace my ACL, but after like 1 year, I tore my ACL like twice. So I realized I cannot be a soccer player anymore. So I start to lift weight. Uh, in the beginning, I don't really like bodybuilding. I mean, I like have muscle, but I don't really like to being very big. But the things turned very interesting when I was 21. There was a American guy in my college. He told me like, you look pretty good. I mean, you can compete. And I said like, compete what? And he said you can compete men's physique. So I didn't really know about so much about bodybuilding and also men's physique. He said you can join me, and we have a team called Underground Athlete. So Brandon Henderson was in that team before. So he told me you can join us, you can compete. So that was my first time heard about like I can. I mean, do I look that good to compete? So in the beginning, even I start to compete, I don't really, I mean, love bodybuilding. I just like, okay, I can try because uh, for me, my dream is to become a professional like athlete. If I cannot go like become a soccer player, maybe I can try to become a professional bodybuilder. So uh, that's why I start to compete.
Well, that's amazing. And for myself, when I was younger, my dream was to become a professional bike rider. I would have loved to be in the Tour de France and racing bicycles, but I tried. I would practice like 20 hours a week doing cardio. And I got okay, I won provincials, but at a national level, I just didn't have the genetics for it. And so you find the sport that's you're made for. So perhaps if you had stuck with soccer, maybe you never would have been a professional. Certainly, probably not one of the top athletes in the world. I mean, you're literally qualified for the Olympia. And so it's nice to see that people that just have a passion or desire to work hard, they can accomplish anything. It's like it doesn't matter, as The Rock would say, points up to the sky. It doesn't matter what it is, like what sport it is. You just want to be really good at something and just shine at it and give it your all. And so you switch from soccer, pretty good, to bodybuilding, and you didn't even know you'd be good at it until you tried it. But obviously you have amazing genetics. They spotted you at 21 years of age saying, you could do this. You didn't even really know what it was about. But because you probably had that small waist, wider shoulders, they just knew that if you kept training, put on more muscle, you're going to do really well.
Yeah, my coach called him Mandas. He told me like, you can compete. I mean, he said like maybe you will do well. So in my first competition, like before the competition, he said you might place like third or second, but he didn't know like I mean I'm just made of to compete, right? When I compete, I got first place in classic physique and also also first place in men's physique. So at that time, he told me, after 2 years, you will become a pro athlete.
That's awesome. And it's like it's the work ethic. I've coached a lot of people in the past. Obviously, I'm Coach Greg. I coach bodybuilders and different people. And sometimes I would see an athlete. I saw one in particular. And I'm like, this girl is so strong. And she's wanting to do figure. And I'm like, you should compete in powerlifting. And she became world champion in powerlifting, setting all kinds of records. And so what you see is people who are very disciplined and are athletes, soccer, basketball, football, doesn't matter. The Rock, he knows. It doesn't matter which sport you're good at, because you have that intrinsic desire to just work hard. And so if you put the work, the dedication, and you do it for long enough, you are going to be good at what you're doing.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Now, you go by the name Baby Carrot. I cannot say your name for the life of me. It's Zhang Seju. Maybe that's close, but where did this name come from? Do you have a baby face, or do you have like small body part? But baby sounds small. Like, is that a compliment? It doesn't sound the best.
I mean, it's really funny in English, right? Baby carrot. I mean, in American, people usually don't. We only say like real name, right? Like Scott. Like my English name is Scott. But in China, it's funny because we made up some like funny name. So when I come up Baby Carrot, because I like back to high school, I love like eating baby carrot.
Makes
And
sense.
also, so that's a reason. And also, being small and being like a baby, which means you have like potential to growing big. So that's why I call myself like Baby Carrot. And I mean, that's it.
Yeah, and it works for you. I mean, for me growing up, people used to call me Egg all the time. And they were like, oh, it's because you eat a lot of eggs. It was actually because I was typing Greg too quickly on the computer and EGG. Okay. And so I wrote Egger. And so people were calling me Egg, Egger, Eggerness. And so for 10 years, my nickname was Egg. People that are watching this that maybe knew me when I was a younger guy, that was what everyone called me. So it's funny how a little name that you start can kind of carry with you forever. Anyway, super interesting. I have to ask this because in my mind, men's physique, which you compete in, the size of the guys has gotten ridiculous. Like I compete as a 212 guy. Recently, I'm in classic physique and I'm weighing in and I'm getting my pro tan on and the whole tanning thing. And they're like, hey, you look good. You must be competing in men's physique. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm a bodybuilder. But the men's physique guys were bigger than me. So has it gone too far? Or are they rewarding too much size? And how do you keep up with that?
Like in the beginning, I was thinking like they're too big, right? But right now, I mean, it's still big. It's just like I'm not big enough. I mean, to compete with them. I'm fine with it. Like for example, like Brandon Henderson in 2018, right? He has to improve each year, right? So he sets the standard for Mr. Olympia. So it's nothing wrong with him to growing very like bigger each year. He only like gain about like I believe like 2 to 3 pounds muscle every year. Not that big, but that's it. I mean, the standard is him. So when he got bigger, everyone has to be like a little bigger. than
And see,
before.
so for me, that's the problem. They keep rewarding that higher standard. The Mr. Olympia is already the best built, like the guy's just crazy. And then it's not good enough. Then you got to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And sooner or later, it's too big. I think they need to downsize. Now, they did this in women's bodybuilding way back in the day. They're like, the women, you're getting too big, too lean. You need to downgrade a little bit. But the problem is the judges keep rewarding those bigger guys. When I was coaching men's physique guys and competing the whole thing, and I'm watching people, and the winners, the first year it started, were tiny compared to now. And when they would see a bigger guy, they give them last place to say, you're not men's physique. You look like a bodybuilder. Nowadays, the men's physique guys are huge. And to me, I see this as a problem because if you want to win the Mr. Olympia, how are you going to do it naturally? You got to take something to get huge. And so it's putting a lot of pressure. And for me, every single category now is so big, so monstrous that no one can really relate. Somebody like you should be as big as the Mr. Olympia winner. I don't think they should go any bigger than you. I think that you're big enough. I mean, go for shape, conditioning, the look, the aesthetics. And if you're too big, Brendan Hendrickson, he could compete in classic physique. What do you say to that?
I mean, most is it's hard. My muscle mass in like pro like men's physique is small. It's not like average. It's small. So if you consider to set a standard. I mean, Brandon Henderson is big, but there are bigger men's physique guy. So he's not like the biggest in men's physique. So he's like fine for me. But same, like Brandon Henderson is the same height as me, but he's about like almost like 20 pounds, 16 pounds to 20 pounds heavier than me. Being a natural men's physique is hard. But my goal is never to become Mr. Olympia. My goal is become the best of myself. So if I can, back 4 years ago, my goal was to become a natural pro bodybuilder, pro men's physique. And after I become a FBB pro, my goal was to become to compete in Olympia stage naturally. So I did again. Right now, for me, I don't have a higher goal. I just want to compete. Maybe I can compete like maybe 3 more years. That's it. That's my goal. Obviously, I like if they can set the standard like me, right? I will be happy, but I don't blame them. I don't blame them because they already getting too big. They cannot force them to compete classic. I'm the only guy like this tiny. Like when I stand with them, they're like this. I'm like this. So I told myself if I lose a guy with more of like V taper, like I mean it's fine. I mean I will be mad. If I lose a guy with bigger muscle, it's fine for me.
Well, you really have a great attitude because, I mean, it would be so easy to be tempted because, I mean, I did it. I switched. I started taking steroids. I was winning the national championships natural. I'm like, I want a pro guard. They're not going to give me one unless I win the next division up. So I ended up doing it. But we've seen so many deaths in bodybuilding as of late. So many of the guys and girls, they're dying, heart attacks and so on. Personally, I think it's gone too far and something needs to be done. And my solution would be not to take away bodybuilding, not to take all this stuff away, but to add categories. For example, if they added a drug tested category in the IFBB at the Mr. Olympia, because you won the Toronto Pro drug tested, you qualify, obviously, but you know you're going to compete against guys 20, 30, 40 pounds bigger than you. If they had a drug tested Mr. Olympia the same day, there was the non-tested and the tested, would you switch and compete in the drug-free one and go for the natural Mr. Olympia title?
Of course I would. So some people say it's funny. Like some people say, "Oh, like Scott, oh baby carrot, you think you are natural, so why don't you compete like OCD something like drug test competition?" I mean, I have never heard about that when I start compete. I only heard like NPC and FBB. So when I compete, my goal is not to become the best athlete like the top athlete. My goal is just to be myself because I don't know if I'm good at this sport, right? So my goal is always like to become like FB pro and then Olympia stage.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, I competed for decades. I was natural back in the good old days, and I would compete and I would win natural shows. I won the drug tested world championships, but no one knows or cares because the
Yeah,
organizations are so small and they're not prestigious. But the Mr. Olympia is so huge, like the Arnold Classic show, the Mr. Olympia. And so if they added in drug tested events, they could make it popular. These smaller federations, we could name probably five, and everyone listening to be like, what the heck is that? And so you could win that and be like, I won this and that, and be like, yeah, you won some nothing. But if you win an Olympia and it was drug tested, that would be huge. And to me, that is what we can actually do right now to try and save bodybuilding. The open class competitors, you know, the big Rammies, the Mr. Olympias of the world, they're 300 pounds of muscle. If they had a drug-free division, then it would give other people a chance to compete natural without having to abuse PDs. And then if you want to take drugs, do it. No one's stopping you. You have that right. It's right there. And if you want to compete natural, you also have it. So to me, it's a win-win. You have more competitors, an aesthetic, normal kind of body like yours that people could aspire to, as opposed to just, I'm so huge. And you look at that and you're like, I can't ever look like that.
yeah. I mean, if Miss Olympia have like natural competition, I would be like, I will compete until maybe until I get old, maybe 40. I can compete like maybe 10 years more. But right now, like if they don't have this, I just told you, maybe I compete like 3 more years and that's it.
And so there
I
you have it. I
retire.
mean, you're literally saying like if it was natural, I could probably compete into my 40s. But with what it's going right now, the guys are getting so big. I have maybe 3 years, and then what's the point? Even somebody
Yeah,
like me, if they had a natural division again, like that, I could switch to, be like, hey, okay, I'm going to stop doing what I used to do and go natural and have fun and be healthy.
yeah. I mean, yeah. It's gonna be very interesting if they have a natural competition. I would love to.
You travel to the United States and train, and also you train in China. Now, have you seen a difference in the cultures between the United States and Canada in terms of the diet and the training? Like, do they eat different, train different, the mentality? Like, I've never been, so I don't know. Like, could you share some of that? Like, is it all the same, or are there some major differences that you notice?
Uh, there is one like very big major difference between like Chinese athlete and maybe like American Canada athlete is uh they all like to train very hard and they like to train like at least twice or 3 times every day.
Oh, in China, people train twice to two or three times a day, and do they train harder, like more to failure? That is that it?
Yeah, yeah, a lot. They like to work very hard. They believe like the work. I mean, if they work harder, they will like have like a more muscle density like this.
Okay, so essentially in China, people have the belief that, overtraining, what's that? The harder you work, the more often you go, to more muscle you're
Yes.
getting. And if that were true, well, I would just train 10 hours a day and I would look like the Mr. Olympia, but it's not actually that in the real world. And for yourself, which side are you on? Do you think that 2 a day, 3 a day train? I've never heard of 3 a day, but do you think 2 days is better? And do you think every set should be to failure?
No, like for me, it's more. I mean, I'm pretty kind to myself. My training style is like child's class because like when I was 22, uh, so I hired child's class to train me, right? So my training technique is more like him. He didn't go to the failure every time, so my style is like him. So when I'm back to China, I train with my friend. I mean, I cannot catch up with him. I can only catch up with him for like one section. When he trained like the second section, I mean, I can never do that.
I mean, for me personally, I think that we kind of adapt to whatever style we want. So, and I train to failure a lot, but I certainly couldn't do it twice a day. I train my whole body 3 times a week. I only go to the gym literally lifting weight 3 times a week. Before, I had a 5-day split, and I would do set after set, and usually to failure. But I really think that you still can overtrain. If you're sore and you're going to the gym and training and thinking that's going to work, I really don't think that to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to them. They just get used to it. Really, people can get used to it. I mean, they can recover faster, I think. I mean, when you first have to try, like, I used to try for like 1 week. I train about like 12 times in 1 week. I tried it because my friend told me, try this. I mean, I was tired. I was really tired. I was like tired. I mean, I feel like I cannot recover. But in the end, like, in, for the second month, I tried again. My body get used to it if I try like twice every day. So I think my friend, they already get used to it.
And I mean, there is a law of diminished returns. Like if you train once a week, 2, 3, 4, the more times you train, the better results you're going to get to a point. Then there's going to kind of trail off. But in any sport, there's different ways to train. You could be a bike rider and train 30 hours a week. You're just going for long, long, long rides, but you end up going really slow. If you're training twice a day, there's no way you're going to train as hard on any given day as if you train once a day. So, what you make up for in volume, you're probably getting a decrease in intensity.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe because I didn't believe it in the beginning, right? When I was in America, I didn't believe them. I mean, how can they recover, and how could they train like twice or 3 times every day? But after I came back to China, when I train with them, they literally train like 2 to 3 times every day, and they feel they can recover it. And I can see them, they are improving each year. But they don't really care about the diet. They eat pretty like dirty, they eat a lot.
So in China, they eat a lot of junk because I'm going to say in the States, it's crap. Most people's diets are atrocious. They're horrible. So from your experience, the diet in no matter what country you're in, the bodybuilders, they really don't eat that healthy.
Yeah, I think they lose a point to being healthy. Like I cannot ever to eat that like junk food for like 1 week. Like I'm maintaining pretty like good, Why in the off season, I probably go out eat like 3 times a week. That's the maximum. So my family cook for me. I like to eat clean.
Yeah, and for me as well, I find that I mean I like to have balance. I don't eat strict all the time, but I also don't think that I should like never eat junk. So I'll eat it when I need to. I think that becomes more realistic. If somebody were to say, if you're in China and you're listening right now, you're thinking I need to train twice a day and eat a strict diet to become a fit bodybuilder. I'm not doing it. It's too much. I'd rather hear you can go to the gym 4 days a week and eat healthy most of the time and look amazing. Well, sign me up. Like, what do you think? Like, what message you want to share to people in China?
Yeah, obviously I want to share like my style because I only train like 4 times every week in my off season. Like my training split is I train like my back twice every week because my back is my weakness, right? You can tell. And I train my shoulder once, and I train chest. So I put like 2 back and 1 shoulder and 1 chest for the next week. 2 back, 1 shoulder, and 1 leg. I do like this routine.
And
So
how many sets and reps are you doing on your when you're training chest back? Is it a set like 10 to 15? Or are you heavy like 5 reps? Like what range are you into?
Like 8, around like 8 to 10.
Okay.
8 to 10. I put like high volume for 1 back section, and I put like heavy weight for another section. So the average range will be like around 8.
Okay. And for chest, is it the same thing, around 8 reps?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's
Okay.
the same thing.
And how much rest do you have?
I share like my training style to everyone, right? Because I only train like 4 times every week, and I can still like growing muscle. But people just like to work really hard in China.
And how much rest are you getting between sets? Are you like a 2 minute rest, or do you go bang, 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 one machine to the next?
So in my off season, I don't really count. I feel like when my brace is getting normal, I that's the time I train my next sets. So probably like 90 seconds.
What do you think about bulking and cutting versus main gaining? And I'll just define main gaining to you. Main gaining is when you keep a healthy body fat, say what you're at right now, and you just slowly build muscle over time versus eating to the point of you can't see your abs, bulk up, and then cut down and diet, and then repeat that back and forth so that you build muscle. Which do you think is better? Are they the same? Is there pros and cons to any of this?
I like bulk pretty clean. Like I'm really easy to bulk, right? I'm pretty easy to bulk because like my muscle is just like this. I can gain like almost like 20 pounds in my off season, but I just eat clean, and my weight is just like growing like this.
Right. So more specifically, what body fat percentage do you think is too much for like an off-season bulk? Like if you can't see your abs, 15%, is that good? Like where should people to draw a line? Because a lot of people are going to be watching this. Most people think you have to bulk and cut. So they're sitting there and they have a little belly, they're skinny fat, and they don't have any abs, and they think, well, I need to eat more McDonald's, eat more food, and then I'll put on more muscle.
I think 50% is pretty good.
15?
Like,
okay, yeah, I thought you said 50. I was scared for a minute. No, I was like, okay, 15, that's a little heavy. 15%. Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah. So right now for me, I still have abs, but I mean, I haven't trained for like a long time. So right now for me, it's like about like 17%. So if I back to gym, I'm probably gonna cut a little bit.
Right. So at 17%, if you're at 17%, you listen to this, the guy has abs. He's saying he would probably start cutting in the gym. He wouldn't start saying, oh, I want to gain a lot of muscle. I need to eat big to get big and go up to 25%. And that's the message I keep trying to tell people. Unless you're already really, really skinny, really lean, like you're just ripped, you probably don't need to eat a shit ton of calories, because if you do, it's just going to end up turning to fat.
Yeah. I mean, you waste the energy, you waste the food. I mean, you don't need so much food to bulk. You have to train really hard, not to eat very hard.
Yeah, I think people are more concerned with eating hard than training hard. It's almost like anything other than suffer, anything other than have to work for it. I'll take a magic pill. I'll do the least I can in the gym, whatever drug I can take, and eat a ton of food. And if they don't have a ripped physique at the end of it, they just blame God.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why that's why they think like I'm not natural, because I mean they cannot do it.
Right. And there's so much to do with genetics. Like all the best bodybuilders all have absolutely amazing genetics. No matter what they say, some of them will say, no, I never had good genetics. I had to work really hard. And I'm like thinking, you're 250 pounds of muscle. You worked hard. Yeah, of course you did. But you also have ridiculously good genetics, because even if you trained half-assed, you'd still look good.
Yeah, like Nick Walker, right? I mean, I mean, he's a monster. So yeah, he worked really hard, but his genetics is just not human, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed Nick Walker. He's 5'7", 292 pounds, and full six-pack, 12% body fat. And his first show in bodybuilding, it was like 159. His second show, 198. Put on 40 pounds of muscle in 1 year. It's like, obviously your genetics are great, but if you look at him in his first show, he didn't look so good. But that doesn't mean you don't have good genetics. When you can add on that much muscle that quickly, that's a guy that's born to be in the sport.
Yeah.
Speaking of natural supplements, you're a natural bodybuilder. What are the best natural supplements that you would take or that you would recommend to others to take? Like your top 3, let's say, the natural ones.
So top 3 would be like multivitamin and fish oil, creatine.
Multivitamin, fish oil, and creatine in any order.
I mean, if I if I can only if I can only recommend one supplement, it will be creatine. I think creatine is very important.
Definitely. I like creatine. Multivitamins for me, important if you're not eating the proper diet, especially. I eat so healthy that I don't really need it because I have so many vitamins. I eat so many, like from all four food groups. Fish oil, if you're eating a lot of healthy fats, probably don't need it. But like if you don't, it's certainly essential. Creatine, so many studies to say it works. Is there anything else you take? Do you take pre-workout? Are you into the caffeine? You take 6 cups of coffee a day? Really like to know, like, what is your routine before you go to the gym? Are you guided like dry scoops pre-workout, or you just go there and natural, or how do you do it?
I mean, it depends. If I work out in the morning, I don't really need pre-workout. If I train in the afternoon, I sometimes I drink coffee before my workout. Sometimes I drink pre-workout, but it's not I'm doing like routine every day. So basically, my routine when I get to the training session, my routine will be I like to talk to people.
Okay.
I like to talk to people. Like, uh, for me, it's just like training is the happiest thing for me. I mean, I joined training, so when I train, I forgot everything. So I like being training. So I don't need like pre-workout for me to make me like more excited. I mean, just the barbell is already good. I mean, when I touch the barbell, I already feel like pumped.
I like this. So you get into you can go 100% natural. You love the gym. And so the pre-workout is I just need to walk in the gym, say hi to people, and it's my social outlet. Like it's like me. You go to the gym and you talk to your friends, you chat. Maybe you've been busy working all day and you just love it. It gets rid of your stress. It feels good. So the gym, it's not just about putting your headphones in and getting in and out in an hour. Sometimes I'm at the gym 3 hours because I like being there. It's like going to the club. You're hanging out and chatting, telling stories. It's fun times. Now, every now and then, obviously, you have to do your sets, and if you're talking 20 minutes straight and you lose your pump, it's not good. But like, I'm the same as you. I like chatting at the gym. I like having fun, being social.
Yeah, I mean, back to college, my girlfriend always mad to me. You know, we have a long distance relationship, so I always like I text her like I said like I'm about to go to gym, and after 4 hours I come back, and she was so pissed because like I had I mean trained too much, but I only trained probably one to one like 9 minutes, probably 1.5 hour, but the rest of time is like to hang out.
Oh yeah, for me, like I'm usually bike riding at least 30 minutes of it, and then training, I'm doing my full body, so it's like an hour plus. Obviously, could be an hour and a half, and then there's some chatting, and then there's driving to the gym. So if you're gone for 4 hours, they might be thinking, "What is the gym code for? Is that code for a side chick or something?" Because I mean, 4 hours, you'd be wondering what's going on, but really, you're just going there having fun, talking to other people.
Yeah, I think that's what drives me to train and also being natural and also to compete. I never feel like too much stress when I compete. I mean, it's easy for me. That's why I can still balance my training and also compete with my business and also social media. I like to share my training. I like to share my life to people. That's how I build so much fans, right? So for some bodybuilders, they don't like to share their life. They don't like to share their training. For me, if you can read Chinese, if you can spend some time watch my video, like road to Olympia like series. I make so much video, and I even make friends when I compete.
I think it's great that you're able to do bodybuilding and have business. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people, they just, I think they just take it too serious. They're just, all they're doing is dieting. They're on a miserable diet that they hate. They don't even like the training. They're just getting through it. And so they just go through the motions. They don't want to talk. But sounds like if you're able to share your journey, that you obviously have a good diet, you have the training that you love, and you're able to go through the day. You're not angry. I mean, for myself, I was a school teacher for 11 years, and I was doing 1 or 2 shows pretty much every year. I was dieting at the same time. I would go to see kids all day long. I can't be in a bad mood. I have to walk in and have a smile on my face and be happy and explain things. Who wants to see some miserable old bodybuilder grumpy about not being, not eating what he wants to eat? So I think it's important that you have balance in life, and it seems like you have done that.
Yeah. There's a funny thing I can share with you. You know what I hate about the bodybuilding? I hate like people say no pain, no gain. I hate saying that because I think all the sports, they work really hard. They never say like no pain, no gain. And for bodybuilding, I mean, you choose to become a bodybuilder. You choose to train every day. No one force you. I think you have to be happy about this. So that's why I hate this. I mean, I hate people always say no pain, no gain, which scares people to join bodybuilding.
Absolutely. I think bodybuilders, for some reason, they think it's a contest of who has the worst life. Like, I only eat tuna 5 times a day. I do 2 hours of cardio. I'm up at 4:30 doing this and doing that, and I'm sweating and grunting and blood and all this. And I'm like, you're making bodybuilding seem like some torture, and you're being virtuous by look what I can do. Meanwhile, somebody like me is like, I'm eating French toast and popcorn and protein ice cream and having a good time, and I'm bike riding and I'm going to the movies, I'm going out to eat, and I have muscle, and I'm lean, I'm on a diet, but it's all fun. Bodybuilding should be fun, but people seem to be taking it as some sport where it's miserable and you have to suffer and you have to push yourself so much, and it's work, it's horrible, and it's like, who's going to do this? It's like, it sounds like a weight loss journey that no one wants to do.
Yeah. I think people have to change their mind. I mean, that's why like all my fans, they like watch my video. I don't ever say like you have to suffer, you know. Of course you might look like you are suffer, but it's not what, like the more suffer you have, you more like the more happy you have. It's the same.
Yeah, I mean, bodybuilding is supposed to be about being healthy, to improve your physicality, your body, and your mind, your spirituality, everything is social, as we like to go to the gym and talk. So the gym should be about going there and having fun and being healthy, living a longer life, a better quality of life, all this stuff, and not just seeing it as some torture that you have to get through. Because if you don't like it, how long are you going to actually do it? If your diet sucks, are you going to actually stick to it? If you don't like your gym routine, how long are you going to train for?
Yeah, I totally agree that.
Speaking of motivation and training and all this, you're stuck in a house 24 hours a day. And I'm understanding that you can't even go out to the grocery store or buy essentials. Like, you're literally in the house all the time, and you can't go to a gym and train. You can't go out and ride a bike if you want. And so how are you coping with that mentally and physically? Because I would go nuts.
Yeah, it's obviously it's very hard for me in the beginning, like in the beginning of like 2 weeks, and then I start to do some like research. I mean, what I do, because I was so stressful, right? I mean, I can't train, and I feel like I'm losing the muscle, and the worst thing is I don't know when I can start to train. This is the worst thing. If you tell me I can, I mean, you lock down for like a month, I mean, it's fine for me. But the worst thing is they never tell you how long will you stay at home, right? So what I do was like reading books. I like to read books. I mean, I have so many books right now. I like to read books, and also since I have my company, we talk a lot.
And
So
financially, are you losing a lot? Because I mean, the gyms are like obviously shut down. You can't go to the gym. So how does that what burden does that put upon your finances as far as like not being able to make money?
yeah, it lose a lot, definitely a lot. Probably uh it's close to 1 million, not dollar, 1 million yuan, about like 1 million yuan, probably like 15, not 15, uh 150,000. Like
So about
close, like
7 to 1 conversion, roughly. Yeah.
yeah, roughly.
Okay.
So, but the good thing is, I mean, I can learn a lot like during this time. I mean, everyone lose money. So, uh, so the first thing for me come up with me is have to unite it all my team. So I talk to my team a lot, and I also give their money because they lose the money. I mean, I have money, right? I just lose a lot, but I still have it. But for them, I mean, if they don't have money, they totally like broke. So I gave a lot of money to them, even they don't work
And so what
during.
do other people do? Like I'm assuming schools are closed down and so the school teachers can't go to work and I mean, I can't imagine one job where you're like normal. So are people like struggling? Like well, how are people doing?
They are struggling. Like for school, they have a like online course, so they already they don't have to worry about go to school. Uh, it's hard for like a gym owner to work because you cannot like it's hard to train online, right? And we have never done online. So for this for this month, we start to to make a pretty interesting, like we teach our clients to train online. So I think it's a online training and online everything is a future. So that's why I tell you it's a good time to take a rest, to think about the future.
Yeah, with all negatives, there's positives come out of it. And if you're a smart businessman, you have to be able to see these things. Like, I mean, when COVID still, when it started and things were shut down, I was making a ton of money coaching everyone. And then all of a sudden the gyms closed down and then no one is hiring me. I'm like, well, why would they hire me? They can't go train. They don't want a diet program, a training program if they're off their diet. And so I started making more videos, YouTube, doing 2 videos a day and start being more popular that way. And people are sitting at home bored. And here I am yelling and screaming at the camera, trying to motivate them to go for a walk and do what they can at home, do some push-ups and whatever. So there's always a way to kind of take advantage of a certain situation, try to make the most of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I do. I hate being negative. I always being positive, and uh, I have I have about like 50 employee, so so it's already not a small team. I have to be strong in like during this hard time.
Wow, 50 people. I have under 20 as part of my, coach Greg and the whole thing. So I can only imagine 50 people. That's a lot of things to take care of. For me, I had a bicycle at home. So when things were locked down or shut down, I just took to doing more bike riding. I couldn't really lift the weights the same as I used to, but I did the bike ride. And then when I got back to lifting weights, muscle memory, it comes back really quick. But you don't have any equipment whatsoever. So how are you keeping the heart healthy? How are you burning off some calories? What have you done in that sense?
So we have a so all the we have like every day at 3 p.m. like all the employee we go online and we train as a group. We train for like 45 minutes. So that's what we do. We do like just like push up, all the stuff like this, and some hit.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, and honestly, you only need about 1/3 of what you were doing to keep the muscle that you have. So if you're a big bodybuilder guy and you do bench presses all the time and you're in the gym and all you do is push-ups, it's probably going to be close to enough to keeping the muscle that you have. You're probably not going to build from there. But then when you go back to the gym, if it opens in a month, you're probably going to gain it real quick because it's kind of like a deload. I don't know if you take deloads in your training or not, but think of it as like, hey, it's just a deload. I'm going to speed up the healing of the injuries and stuff and get better. And then when the gym opens up again, really get into it and see just what you were missing.
Yeah. I mean, I always put deload like after my training. I usually take like 1 month off, 1 to 2 months off, like totally. For for this particular time, I mean, it had been like 3 months to 4 months already, so it's too long. So right
Oh
now
yeah.
I start to like work out a little bit.
And I mean, think of it like, I think of it like this. You're locked down, which absolutely sucks, but I'd rather be locked down than have a broken leg and a hip op. I've done all these things. It sucks. You can't train properly, but yet you get over it and then you come back stronger sometimes than before. And so just because you're locked down right now, it's not the time to just give up and realize that, look, when it starts and opens up again, you get in on that gym membership, you go out and start doing your cardio, and you make up for the time that you missed because muscle memory is a real thing. And you can, in fact, get better as soon as you get back to the gym.
Yeah, you know why I always take like deload after my competition? Because like one time, I did it, and after the deload, like after I back to work out, all the muscle memory come up, and in the beginning I didn't feel really good because I haven't trained for so long, but after like probably like a month, like I become like stronger, and I feel like uh I feel like I can eat a lot of food. So that's why I start like when I was like 22. That's what I usually do, like take like took like 1 to 2 months off, like after
I,
competition. I
and I
also
think there's
improve.
nothing wrong. I see nothing
Yeah.
wrong with taking that time off if you need that mental break or that physical break. I know even Chris Bumstead took time off, and that's the Mr. Olympia. The only problem that for some people is some people, they need to be in a routine. And if that routine ends, then sometimes they don't get back to it. That's the only scare, is that they'll get used to sitting on their asses watching Netflix. And then the gym's open again. They're like, nah, I'll just keep staying. So that's the danger. That's the scare. But for somebody that's really dedicated and wants to, it's harder to stay away from the gym than it is to go to the gym. So I can't imagine just giving up.
Yeah, I think you have to you have to you have to take this break as a deload, not real break. You know, if you consider it's a break, okay. I mean, you probably lose momentum, right? But if you think it's just a reload, it's part of the training. It's part of the whole training, right? So after the deload, after this break, when you go to the gym, you feel like more excited.
Absolutely. And I want to end on a high note. Is there anything that you want to share for advice to people who are watching, or anything you want to leave? What message you might want to leave behind? Just have the floor.
Uh, if I would say like one thing to people, I would say just enjoy your moment, enjoy your time with your family, with your training partner. Like never regret about anything. Like I don't regret being a soccer player. I don't regret being a natural bodybuilder, and I don't regret to open my business. It's yes, it's very stressful for me sometimes, and sometimes it made me mad. Sometimes it's made me disappointed, but overall, you will overcome this. And after you overcome, you feel stronger. So that's why you have to enjoy the moment, no matter what.
I like this. So enjoy the moment, make the most of what you're doing, take on challenges, try to overcome them, and have no regrets. It's a great message.
Yes.
All right, I'd like to thank Baby Carrot for being on with us. Make sure you can follow him on Instagram, YouTube, Billy Bing, all kinds of places. Are you going to be able to compete at the Olympia, or I guess it depends on how long the lockdown goes for?
I mean, I think I will. Yeah, of course. I really want to compete in Olympia. It's my first time, and once the lockdown, I mean, once they don't lock down, I probably can start to my prep immediately.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So my last competition, I had a 4 month prep. For this competition, it probably take me 6 months. So I will have time to recover and then to gain some muscle and then to cut the fat.
Absolutely. So wishing you the best. Hope you make it out to the Olympia. Hope the lockdown ends sooner than last time. And until next time, I am out.